Good Friday right here on Pure West Radio. Yes, Friday the 19th of May. And it's time we caught up with Pembrokeshire Sport Update with Bill Carne,
Good morning, Gina.
BEM.
Yeah,
Good
good
morning.
morning. Good morning, Gina. Good morning, Tom. You're always bright at this time in the morning, Gina. How do you do it?
It's Gina Jones, you see. As soon as you put a camera in front of me or a microphone, I sort of just brighten up.
That's right.
She's
They should have seen you 5 minutes ago.
Exactly, yes.
And the coffee. Let's not forget the coffee.
Oh, yeah, the coffee.
So, how are you then, Bill? It's been particularly busy this week, isn't it?
Oh, it's a manic week. We keep saying that, but it's because of this overlap of the main sports again. I call them main sports. Give me a bit of smaller sporting situations at the moment, please.
Yeah. Well, we'll do our best. If you've got a sporting endeavour that's ongoing at the moment, let us know. Email spujo@purewestradio.com. We'll pass it on to Bill, and we can chat about you next week. That's what we want to do over these summer months. But there is this overlap. However, one season, I think I can now say, has officially ended following a very tense Saturday afternoon in Newtown.
Yeah, indeed. What a blinking finish to the season, Tom. Who'd have thought that would have happened when we were concerned here on the show about whether they could stay in the JD Cymru Premier. That is Helen Marie saying good morning, lovely girl. And who'd have thought this? They won so many games on the trot. Tony Pennock has been fantastic, and I'm glad they're keeping him for next year because I did have my worries about that. He's a class act. So great finish, great excitement. Europe, here we come now.
Yeah, fantastic. Haverfordwest County, the Bluebirds are going all the way, 2 penalty shootouts, 2 matches of 120 minutes, but they've got there. And as you said, Tony Pennock has initiated his 1-year extension. Zach, the goalkeeper, the heroic goalkeeper, he's staying on for another season, but there's 3 people leaving.
Yeah, there are, and it's inevitable. It happens. I mean, 2 of them I expected. The other one I knew a little about, but I hoped he'd stay. That's Corey Shepherd, of course, who's been inspirational in midfield, but he's decided to go as well for his own reasons. They're well sort of talked about already. So, they will recruit new players. Someone told me that the money they get just for being in Europe is immense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So hopefully we'll see some of that investment come back into the Oggy Bridge Meadow, which would be fantastic.
And
Gina,
will come in, yeah.
Yeah. Gina, do you fancy a European adventure?
I was going to say, who's going to be going? Are you going to get the a ticket to go, Bill? Will Mrs. Khan allow you?
Sorry, she would if I had a passport. I don't. I've never had one. So
have you never been abroad, Bill?
Yeah, I've been to Ireland. I've been to Jersey.
But in the car and on a ferry.
And, I have flown. We've flown to Jersey and to quite a few of the Channel Islands, and loved it. Wow. I'm not against flying, and I just love the British Isles. And I visited most now, but there's still some parts like Northern Ireland I haven't been to. So I will be with them in spirit.
Are you not? You're not going to get the passport photo. You're not going to do it.
Gina, look at me. I'm 76. There's your answer. No.
Will it have to be Tom going then to fly the flag?
Gordon might go.
Yeah, we'll be sure to send you a postcard from wherever they end up. They might end up in Northern Ireland, funnily enough, with the teams that are taking place that go through this next stage of European competition. So very exciting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the best they've got a couple of weeks off now, and then the pre-season is going to start very early for them with this European competition. So we'll be one of the first to let you know what's going on. And on Monday just gone, we had terrible technical difficulties, but we're hoping this Monday to have not only Tony Pennock, but also Chairman Rob Edwards join us on Monday evening on the Pure Sports Show.
Yeah, well, you never stop him talking now that they've done that, because he likes to chat, does Rob. I spoke to Tony. I phoned him up in Hull last week, before the playoff, and he's just he's a very nice chap, but he's also a very thorough manager. Brilliant.
Yeah. The other sport that's kind of hanging on in there, Bill, is rugby.
Yeah, come on, rugby. This weekend's the end of it. Thank goodness. I never thought I'd be saying. Just the thought of the word rugby sets my neck aching. That's how bad it is. But there's still plenty going on, Tom. On Wednesday night, it was the plate final. Why they're going to have a plate final to a county championship, goodness only knows. It's become a fashion, and there's so many plate finals now. But in that, it was important for Tenby and Pembroke, and not belittling them. Pembroke 5, Tenby United 28. Scott Powell scored a late try for Pembroke. For Tenby, Lloyd Thomas had a try, 2 conversions and 3 penalties. Man of the match then, of course. And Matthew Morgan and Dan Colley scored their other tries. And I know Tenby, if they said, could they win that or win Saturday because they're playing Nantgaredig, I know which they'd pick. Because if they beat Nantgaredig and get a bonus point, and Buryport lose or don't get a point at Fishguard, then Crimmock could be Tenby could be promoted. So that's that. And then tonight, the actual cup final. Now that used to be the blue ribbon event of Pembrokeshire Rugby. Of course, with the breakup of the leagues and things, that's not quite the same now. But the final tonight is very unusual, Tom and Gina, because Crimmock are there, and as expected, as the best side in the county apart from Narberth. But they're playing the Narberth development squad, which is their youngsters. Might be a couple of old hands thrown in as well who don't play for the first team. And that's being played tonight at Hendy Gwyn, at Park Llwyn, Gwyn. And Crimmock will start that as raging favourites. There's no doubt about that. But Narberth development squad, like a scrap, they like a battle. They'll give their best.
Will you be up there, Bill?
I don't know, Gina. I tell you why. I want to go, but this morning I'm not one for the Pontypridd word for it is swanking, showing off.
Oh.
But Gordon Thomas and I are off this morning. I'm taking him up, driving him all the way to Cardiff because he's my mate, and we're going to have lunch with Ian Botham.
Oh,
well,
wow.
Yeah,
I like that.
Not on our own. There'll probably be 200 other people paying bathrooms, which I hasten to add, Gordon and I are not. We've had a very kind invitation from a sponsor to go. So we're up in Cardiff, near the big stadium, and we'll enjoy that. But it means we're up there for lunch. We won't be late coming back, but it means coming back to Haverfordwest, seeing my better half, and I look forward to that. And then driving back to Whitland. I'm not sure I'll be up to that. We'll see. Tell me where.
No. We'll see. Wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll have lots of details for you.
Yeah, and of course, Ian Botham is a great link to our next part because, of course, he's the famous man from the TV adverts. But before he was that, he had quite an illustrious career, didn't he?
Oh, well, Beefy was Beefy. He epitomised the bulldog spirit of English cricket, and he was some man. I see on the television adverts he's put on a lot of weight, man. I reckon he's heavier than that.
Oh, I was going to bring you back to something that's happening in Hook later in September, 1st of September. Have you heard? Well, you've heard about that. We've got Simon Jones coming down there, I heard.
Yes, I've got an interview with John Willington for Monday for the show.
There we are.
About it. He's one of the organisers there with Jamie Phelps. This company supplies a day where they'll have 8 former international cricketers. Simon Jones is the first one to be signed up for that. We'll be sitting by Dean Conway today, incidentally. They're not one to name drop, but he's the top-ranking New Zealand opening batsman. So we will see Simon there and 7 others. It's part of Hook's centenary celebration, Dina. And they are intent on having a couple of games. They've got a game against the MCC. So they'll be mainly Welsh players who'll be in that, will travel now. So I hope we're going to have a good season, and they deserve it. They're a hard-working club, great family ethos there. Youngsters galore playing in the first team. I watched them play last night in the Dougie Morris. They lost in that, sadly.
Oh.
Well, I mustn't say sadly, because that implies I'm not, I'm a bit
impartial.
Especially playing against Saundersfoot, they wouldn't be averse to giving me a bit of stick. They're a nice crowd of boys, Saundersfoot. So, that's going to be a big day for Hook Cricket Club.
Oh.
Yeah, well, send my love to Simon when you see him later then.
Oh, okay, you're doing a bit of name dropping now
then. Well, Cliff and Simon used to play cricket together, you see.
Yeah.
So back in the day. Yeah.
I'll probably be there for that, but I won't be abroad.
No, there we are. Lovely.
And it's funny talking about Cliff playing with these players that have gone on to stardom. The local grassroots cricket scene can foster that because there's 6 divisions of great cricket, Bill.
There are indeed, and what's lovely, Gina would know with her affection for cricket. You can play cricket. I played till I was 58. There are people who play in regularly at 70 for Wales, and you can play in. I played in Division 1. The standard was good. Division 2 is good, and it deteriorates down. It weakens as you go down. But that's where it's the bedrock for kids of 13, 14, 15, 16 upwards to play with, people who are that age, and hopefully help to bring them on. So there's cricket for everybody now. When you think there's a full junior program. The women's cricket, I'm talking to Sam Rossiter on Monday. Pembrokeshire's having its first ladies cricket team for 30 years. This year they're playing in a league competition all over Wales. So
Wow.
it's marvellous. It's great.
That's great. So come on then, Bill. What cricket can we expect over the weekend now that the rugby's nearly done?
Well, the Dougie Morris finished last night with Saundersfoot beating Hook and Whitland losing to Narberth. So that means that the draw for the next round of the Dougie Morris is played early this year. The games this weekend in Division 1, Burton play Langham, a bit of a local derby there. Top game, I suppose you'd have to say, is Cresselly, who were top, and Neyland, who were third. Neyland beat them in the Dougie Morris in the week. Both teams had players out. The other big game is Saundersfoot, who are fourth, played Carew, who are fifth. And then we got Narberth ninth, playing Loreni, who are second. Saundersfoot are fourth, playing Carew fifth. And Tish seventh, playing Herbranston, who are bottom at the moment. Division 2 very quickly. Carew seconds, play Cresselly second, so another local derby there. Haverfordwest entertain Pembroke Dock. Johnson will hopefully carry on playing. They played last week, their first game. They're home to Whitland, who are top. Kilgetty seventh, and they're playing Cleckery third, and Clanryan entertain Hook. So there's a full programme. That's Division 1 and 2. There's piles of games for people to watch this weekend. There'll probably be some Welsh Cup games on the weekend as well, on Sunday. So lots of that in the Dougie Morris, Neyland, Carew, Langham, Burton, St Ishmael's, and they are through besides the ones I've mentioned already. And sadly, Llanrhian walked over because Leckery disappointing. He couldn't get a side. That's disappointing, that is.
That is, particularly so early in the season.
Yeah, and Leckery are usually a strong side, aren't they?
Well, they're playing very well in the second division. They've got some very talented players there, not least John Curran, who's already scored a century, and David Dunphy, who you probably know. He played at Whitland. He played for a number of clubs. He seems to have settled now up in Cleckery, and they're a good side. They're doing well in Division 2. I mean, at the moment, they're third there, and they're playing one of Cliffy sides, Kilgetty, this weekend. So it's a shame. I don't like to see clubs being given a walkover, because another club could have played in that, and Pembroke came runners-up last year because they got relegated. They're not in the competition this year. They were a bit aggrieved about that, I know.
Sticking with Division 2, actually, Bill, Haverfordwest are currently second in the table. They'll be buoyed by that, won't they? Because they'll be disappointed that they're in Division 2 in the first place.
Yeah, but the strange thing is, Tom, if you look, as well as the win points, there are batting points and bonus points, bowling points, as you know. Haverfordwest have only got 3 batting points. They're the lowest in the division, although they're high up. And that's because every game so far, they've bowled every side out for between 50 and 90. So they're bowling first. Adam James, Ashley James, they get amongst the wickets, and then they're knocking off the runs. So they need to bat first, I think, sometimes.
Actually get those runs up. And then Pembroke Dock, the flip side of that fixture, also went down last season, didn't they? They'll be disappointed with the 6th, though, won't they?
They will. And in the end, if you look at Pembroke Dock, they're another club that's booming. Everything is set up, the perfect pitch there, lovely conditions. You've got a first team, a second team. You've got a ladies team there, which is very buoyant, and all the junior sides. So they're well set up to come back in time. The Dock are a good, well-organised club, no doubt about that.
Yeah. And you've just mentioned the ladies' league there with Pembroke Dock, or the ladies' team with Pembroke Dock, but the ladies' league, you just mentioned that there's going to be a Pembrokeshire team competing in a league as well. But you're going to talk with Sam Rossiter. The ladies' divisions are also very strong.
Yeah, there's 6 teams in Division 1 and 5 in Division 2. Sadly, Loreni dropped out before the start of the season. And I can quickly give you the results there. Whitland, 51 for 6. Fleur Davis, 25, not out, lost to Cresselly. 52 for 2, and the effervescent Lauren Davis, 23 and 2 for 6. She's now on the county committee, which is great. Pembroke Dog 85 for 7. Rachel Sander 19 not out, lost to Burton 88 for 4. 26 apiece for Zoe Brick and Becky Barton. And Hook 116 for 1. Casey Aaron, she's some player. She's in the Pembrokeshire team. 27 not out and 3 for 2. Beat Haverfordwest 47 all out. And Nia Williams had 27 not out of that. And Division 2 quickly. They play a different form of cricket in Division 2. Gina will be aware of it. It's the junior cricket where they start with 200 points. They bat in pairs. So if you get out, you still stay in for your 4 overs, but you just lose runs for every time you get out. So the emphasis is on playing correct cricket. St. Ishmael's 285 for 5. Lost to Kilgetty 296 for 2. Chloe Bland at 22. And Nayland, Bobby Veals 18 out them scored 280 for 6. And they beat Carew, who had 251 for 6, despite batting quite well. So lots of ladies cricket going, and I'm really chuffed to see that. I don't mind admitting it's great.
And going through those names, Bill, there's quite a lot of names that I recognise there that have maybe their partners or family names that are already playing cricket.
They are indeed. That's very, you've done well to spot that. A lot of those have partners who are playing, or who's, like as you said, whose dads play. There's one or two's mums play as well. So it's great to see. And then on Sunday, they're playing Britain Ferry, Steel, Newport and Rather in total. This week they were supposed to be away to Britain Ferry, but the ground isn't right there. So they're entertaining, I think, at Criselli, the opposition. That's their first game for 30 years. I know it's 30 years ago because I was chairman of the county and I umpired that game with an old guy called Stan Richards, who'd been chairman before me. And that was the first time they'd ever had, or for many, many years, they'd had a ladies' team. And Sam Rossiter was playing in that. And Kath Huxley was now the headmistress at Cosheston School. She was the captain there. And it was a great game. We lost, but it was a great game.
That's amazing. And one thing that surprises me every year about the cricket is there's so many different competitions for all the different levels of cricketing ability. And the ladies' cricket is no different now. So you've got the divisions, with this new Premier League, they've got matches, but they're also going to be involved in a T20 competition and a 40-over league fixtures to be played on the Sunday afternoon. And there's a similar situation with senior cricket in grassroots as well, where you've got the Dougie Morris, there is a T20 competition as well for those that have entered it. There's so many different forms of the game that's available to play.
Yeah, the Dougie Morris used to be for teams that won the league or the cup only. Now it's all the first division and the top 6 in the second division, which is nice. The Alec Colley is for second teams. The Ken Morris Cup is ostensibly for third teams and some teams lower in the division. And the Alan Brown Cup, which is organised by the umpires, are for teams who have first teams in Division 3 and lower. There's not so many teams in that now because clubs have moved up. But as you say, there's cricket for all. Martin Jones does a brilliant job of organising the juniors. And there's cricket galore played there. And, if you go out now, Friday night is a busy night. You go out to local cricket and you might see 100 kids warming up on a cricket pitch. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, watch my Poppy, right? She's 11 now, and she's been playing cricket for the last few years. She absolutely loves it. Any moment she's out in the garden and Cliff's bowling to her, or vice versa, and she's so into it. She's dedicated to it and loving every minute of it as well. So
that's great. And what's interesting, Gina, is there's still quite a few ladies who play regularly on a Saturday in what we call a men's league. It's a cricket league. And if you look at that, Sam Rossiter has played for Hook 30 years. Yeah. Kath Huxley was Stackpool. There's loads on Lauren Davis. Her family are Criselli.
Arthur's.
Arthur's.
Are they Arthur's?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's it.
Arthur. She married Nick Davis, who is a Criselli, a Carew opening bat. So she's down helping there as well. But, it's lovely to see. We've got 2 women on the county club now. Sam Roster and Lauren, and that's great to see. So things are going well for cricket, and it's lovely to see the range of people who are playing.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. I'm disappointed that I wasn't introduced to it earlier because I can't think of anything nicer than spending a nice sunny afternoon out in the field, getting your sandwiches, your cricket tea, and then heading back out to finish the game. It sounds like a wonderful way to spend a weekend.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? There is always the argument, of course, that it's a full Saturday, and you start at 1:30, you finish any time between sort of 4:30 and 8:30, and it's a long day then. And a lot of youngsters apparently like to think, well, I want to be out on a Saturday night, and that's too late to go. But it's good. And if you look, the clubs are now allowed. I'll talk about it one week with you. They're allowed to wear the pajama kits now if they want.
I was going to say, is this like the 2020 cricket now to bring those sort of the youngsters more involved in it?
Well, Loreni, it's a good point, Gina. Loreni and Langham are already playing. All their players are kitted out they're both black and yellow and orange. But I know other clubs. I know Hook are planning to have their kit before the end of the season, and there's a mood swing that way. Some of the old fogies like me are resisting that and saying cricket is a game for whites on a weekend.
Oh, Cliff's an old fogey then, because he won't have any of this pajama stuff.
No, I come around to thinking if it encourages people to play, my view is it'd be blinking hot on a hot day to wear it. And I had to laugh. One umpire said to me last week, the trouble is, if they're both in black, how will we know the difference? Well, they're both playing white.
Yeah. I like that. Good point.
He was talking about the ball. If they're playing with black, they should have a pink ball, or an orange ball, or a white, an ordinary red ball. So but they're allowed to play now. They're officially allowed, so that's good.
Oh, that is good. Now, before we go, Bill, we like to kind of tail off these chats on a Friday morning with pinpointing someone in the sporting community in Pembrokeshire that's made an impact. And we talked about this gentleman a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly. But he's played. Well, he's been there for his last match with Narberth.
Yeah, Narberth are playing Trebanos tomorrow at home, which is interesting because Narberth cricket are playing Loreni on the pitch adjoining it, so there's going to be a few balls flying around. I suspect Narberth will play on the top pitch there. But Nick Gale has played his last game in the week. Typically, he scored 20 points. They won 42-12 at Glamorgan Wanderers. I think now I'm right in saying he scored something like 1,180 points in 160 games for them. And he's leaving. He's going back to his the club he started out with as a boy, Llanelli Wanderers. He's been 10 years at Narberth. His father, Sean, has been even longer at Narberth after joining from Llanelli. He's been the head coach there for a long time, director of coaching, they're called now. And he's passing the baton on to Liam Gadd, who's his assistant. And Sean is going to be the head coach at Llanelli Wanderers. And Nick is going to be the player coach, working with the backs as well. Nick's a lovely, lovely bloke. Honestly, he is so helpful to me when I want any details. And he's a joy to watch. The assistant coach at Narberth, I can confirm, is the current Haverfordwest head coach, Matthew Snowy John, who still plays, and he's a very good player. But he's going to become backs coach with Narberth. So Haverfordwest have lost a good coach there. There's a couple going. Gareth Bennett is going from Whitland. Gary Price, I think, might be joining his old club Pembroke from Larne because Garrett Lewis has stepped down from Pembroke after many years of service. So it's all changed with the rugby, I think.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the interesting start to the new season, new faces, new challenges, new techniques. A big step up coaching wise for Snowy as well. But we wish him all the best. Of course, he's played at that level and above it as a player.
And above, that's right.
So
I just finished with another lovely thing. The Pembrokeshire Harriers are going from strength to strength. They're in this competition now where there's huge meets and they go to those and pick up points, but it's like a league table. And they're playing. I was talking to their head coach last night at the cricket. He watches that in Hook. He's on the show quite often, isn't he? And they're racing, jumping, running on Sunday, I think in Carmarthen, but it could be further afield. So there's lots going on in sport, blimey. Yeah.
There is indeed. Now, Bill, we've come to that time. It's Feel Good Friday. It's 7:30. Now, you've got a song request for us, but you've also been boogieing yourself in the midweek.
I think boogieing isn't quite the right word, Tom. I moved in my feet, clapped, and I was told to clap. But the first gig Marilyn and I have been to since COVID, we used to love going to watch the 60s, the Mersey Beats, the Searchers, the Swinging Blue Jeans, all of those. I even once saw PJ Proby with his pants unsplit. And you better don't remember that. But we went to...
I'm going to be looking it up, don't worry.
Yeah, PJ Proby, American singer. But we went to the Torch Theatre and we watched the Furies, the Irish folk band. And they were every bit as good as the other 5 times we'd seen them. We'd seen them in North Wales, we'd seen them in Cardigan, in Cardiff, and in the Torch whenever they're there. And they're both my age, 75, 76, Eddie and George Fury. And they were brilliant. It was a packed house. Most people our age singing along when we were told to sing along. It was fantastic. But no one was up dancing, I can tell you that. Not in the Torch. We don't have things like that in the Torch, thank you very much. And next week, we're going to see, is it called We Will Rock You? Something in the Torch again. So,
fantastic.
Well done,
yeah, exciting times. So you want a record for today? Well, I was listening in the week to something and I thought that symbolises the sing-along type stuff that went on in the 60s. You know, we've had a couple of classy records from the 80s recently. So if I can pick today, Edison Lighthouse. Now look at this for a title. Love Grows Where My Rosemary Goes.
Oh, this is a good song.
Yeah,
I know
it's
this
a sing-along,
one.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Stuff.
Yeah, and your foot will be tapping as well, Bill.
I'll be clapping my hands and tapping my feet, yes.
Indeed.
Fantastic. Bill, as ever, thank you so much for your time on a Friday morning for the Pembrokeshire Sports Update with Bill Carne. Pembrokeshiresport.co.uk is where you can get even more sports information, and the Pure Sports Show on a Monday evening with Ethan Evans and Morris, where we'll have Tony Pennock and Rob Edwards, and also interviews. Bill's mentioned a few there, but we've also got some young talent. Boxing and surfing is going to be chatted about on Monday evening as well. Bill, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Gina, I got one question for you.
Go on.
I banged my head this morning, this side, on the bathroom cabinet, and I'm going to see you both. Have you got some makeup I can borrow to cover it?
I have indeed. Yeah, pull by on your way, and I'll touch you up.
Right. No, rephrase that.
On that bombshell, have a safe journey and an enjoyable lunch, Bill. We'll see you again next week.
Okay, have a good weekend. Ta-da.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving.